Welcome to Reddit Reveals. Listen along, enjoy the ride, and drop a comment later. Even a short one means more than you think. She didn't even notice me at first. I had the hotel door open for maybe 2 full seconds before she turned around. That's all it took. 2 seconds, and everything I'd refused to believe for months was right there in front of me. Red dress, wine glass, low light, her mouth inches from his ear. I didn't scream. I didn't even breathe. I just stepped inside and said, "Wrong room, sorry." Then I dropped my wedding ring on the carpet and walked out. Let me back up. This didn't start with a fight, or a cold marriage, or some dramatic text message. It started with a joke. A dumb, corny little joke she read off her phone and said, "Brad would love that one." I said, "Who's Brad?" She paused. Half a second, too long. Then, "You've met Brad, babe. From my gym. He's hilarious." Nah, I hadn't met Brad. I know every dude at her gym who's ever looked in her direction. I've met the old guy who wipes every machine twice. I've met the guy who wears Timberlands on the treadmill, but Brad? Never heard of him. Quick one. Before we go deeper, tell me what city or country you're watching from. That night, I waited until she was in the shower, opened her phone, locked, changed passcode. She'd never done that before. I don't know what hit me harder. The fact that she had something to hide, or the fact that I suddenly knew without question what it was. I just sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at her phone like it was a weapon aimed at my own chest. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat the next day. My stomach felt like it was full of glass. But I didn't say a word. I played dumb, just like she thought I was. The next week, she said she had a training weekend for work in Lexington. That's where Brad lived. How do I know? Because I made a burner Instagram a month ago and followed him from a fake account. She liked his gym pics. Commented on one, "You're insane." No one calls a coworker insane with a fire emoji. So I followed her all the way to the hotel. I sat in my car for 3 hours watching the entrance. She came out once wearing a short red dress and heels. Got wine from the lobby bar. Then went back up. I waited 30 minutes. Then I walked in, straight to the desk, said I was her husband, and she left her key. Guy handed it over without blinking. I took the elevator up, heart beating so hard it made my teeth hurt. I opened the door. She was whispering in his ear. He was smiling. And then she turned and saw the ring on the floor. She didn't run after me. Not a word. Not a single sound from that room. I took the elevator down like I had just delivered someone's room service and didn't feel like I had a knife sticking through my chest. My face was burning. My hands were ice. But I kept walking. Through the lobby, through the automatic doors, back to my car. I sat there for 20 minutes before I could breathe like a human again. She didn't text, didn't call. I watched the entrance to that hotel like it was a movie screen, waiting to see if she'd come out after me. Chasing, crying, lying, whatever. Nothing. The minutes passed. The door never opened. I don't know what stung worse, the cheating or the fact that she didn't even try to explain it. I drove back home in silence. No music. Just the sound of the turn signal and my pulse pounding in my ears. Somewhere halfway down the interstate, I actually laughed. A full, dry, humorless laugh. You ever hit a point where pain crosses into comedy? That was me right then. A whole darn clown in a Nissan. Next morning, she came home like nothing had happened. I heard the garage door open at 9:12 a.m. sharp. She walked in wearing leggings and a hoodie, hair tied up like she just finished a jog. Not a night of lying to my face. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at my coffee. She stopped when she saw me, blinked. "Oh," she said. "I thought you had work." I called out, I said. "For what?" I didn't answer, just kept looking at my cup like the truth was written at the bottom of it. She set her bag down, real calm, real slow. "What's going on, Garrett?" "You tell me," I said. "How was Lexington?" She hesitated, just long enough to confirm everything I already knew. "It was fine," she said finally. "Training went long. I'm exhausted." "I bet you are." That one landed. Her jaw tightened, eyes narrowed just a hair. She knew I knew. But she didn't confess. She didn't cry. She didn't break down or ask for forgiveness like you'd expect from someone who got caught in a room with another man. She just said, "Are we going to do this right now? Because I have zero energy for one of your moods." Moods. That's what she called it. I stood up, walked past her, and grabbed her phone from the kitchen counter. She didn't even flinch. The phone was locked. New passcode. She changed it. I held it up and looked at her. She didn't say a word, just crossed her arms and leaned against the kitchen island like she was waiting for me to finish throwing a tantrum. I didn't yell, didn't accuse. I just dropped her phone back on the counter. "You want to tell me what happened in that hotel room?" I asked. "Hotel room?" she repeated, like she genuinely couldn't believe I said it out loud. "Garrett, you're unbelievable. You were with him. I saw it." Her expression barely changed. "So, you followed me? That's what you're mad about?" She sighed like I was wasting her time, like I was the problem. Then she said the most unbelievable thing I've ever heard. "You've been acting paranoid for months. I can't do this anymore." I swear, for a second, I thought she was going to say she'd been meaning to talk to me, that maybe there was a way out of this. But instead, she walked out of the room. Not a single tear. Not even a fake apology. I followed her down the hall and she shut the bedroom door in my face. That was the moment it hit me. She wasn't sorry. She was done. I stood there in the hallway, heart pounding, fists clenched. I could hear her moving around inside, opening drawers, zipping up something. When I finally pushed the door open, she was packing a duffel bag. Calm, collected, like she was leaving for yoga class. "You're seriously walking out?" "I need space," she said. "You clearly don't trust me." I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. "I saw you with him, Celia." "You saw me talking to someone. You don't know anything else." I stepped closer. "Were you sleeping with him?" She zipped the bag shut and looked me straight in the eye. "I don't have to answer that." That told me everything. She walked past me, down the stairs, grabbed her keys, and left without another word. I just stood there, in the middle of the living room, trying to figure out if this was real life or some insane nightmare. It was like watching your own house burn down while everyone else walks by like nothing's happening. But I wasn't done. Not yet. She could lie to my face all she wanted, but I still had that burner account. And Brad? Brad was about to help me find out exactly how far this went. Celia thought I was an idiot. Maybe I had been. Maybe I still was. But I wasn't blind anymore. After she left that morning, I didn't sit around sulking. I sat at my desk, logged into the burner Instagram I made months ago, and pulled up Brad's page. It was the same shirtless gym stuff as always. Dumb flexing, motivational quotes, protein powder ads. But something new caught my eye. A story from 2 nights ago. Same night she was in Lexington. He'd posted a boomerang of wine glasses clinking across a hotel table. One was clearly hers. I recognized her nails. Light blue, oval-shaped tips she got the week before. She never drinks red wine. But that glass, full of it. So clearly someone was showing off. And then I saw something even better. In the corner of the shot, just barely in frame, was her wrist. She was wearing the same silver bracelet I gave her on her 30th birthday. The one she told me she lost at the gym 3 months ago. Lost. Yeah, right. I replied to his story from the burner. "You two make a cute couple." 10 minutes later, he DM'd back, Who's this? I didn't answer. I waited. 2 hours later, he posted a gym selfie like nothing happened, so I messaged again. You know she's married, right? Brad replied in less than 60 seconds. What? I felt my stomach twist. I answered, Celia, she's my wife. There was a pause. A full 5 minutes went by before he said, Bro, what the heck? She told me she was divorced. Of course she did, I wrote. She lied to you. She's been lying to me for months. He didn't respond after that. I sat there watching the little scene icon under my last message. That was it. He ghosted. No apology, no, I didn't know, just silence. But what really burned me was the realization that she wasn't just cheating. She was rewriting her whole life for someone else. In her little fantasy world, I was already gone. Just a name on papers she hadn't filed yet. That night, I drove to her sister's place because I knew that's where she'd be. And I wanted answers. I wasn't going to let her crawl under someone else's roof and pretend I didn't exist. I parked across the street and waited. At 9:46 p.m., I saw the front porch light flip on. The door opened, and she stepped out with a suitcase. She wasn't alone. That was the first thing I noticed. Celia stepped out onto the porch, dragging a dark green suitcase behind her, but she didn't look back at the door. A woman followed. Her sister, Marcy. They weren't talking. Marcy looked pissed. I watched from across the street with the engine off, lights off, hands clenched tight around the steering wheel. I should have gotten out. Should have yelled something, anything, but I didn't. I just sat there and stared like some loser, watching his wife walk off with pieces of his life in a Samsonite bag. And then it got worse. Celia opened the trunk of her car, tossed the suitcase in like it was nothing, and as she turned to close it, Marcy said something. Celia froze. Her body went rigid. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw her face. Whatever Marcy said, it hit hard. Celia slammed the trunk shut and barked something back. Marcy threw her hands up and turned around, storming back inside. Celia stood there for a second, alone on the driveway, just staring down at the pavement like it had answers. Then she got in the car. I pulled away fast, turned the corner, and parked 2 blocks down. She passed me without seeing. I waited until her taillights disappeared. Then I messaged Marcy. All I sent was, I saw her leave. She didn't respond for a few minutes. Then finally, I told her everything. I wrote back, What do you mean? Marcy's reply came fast. About Brad. About the hotel. About the DMs. She denied it, called me a traitor, said I ruined her life. For a second, I didn't even feel anything. No rage, no relief, just tired, like my body had run out of places to put pain. Marcy sent one more message. She's not staying here again. You deserve the truth, Garrett. Truth. That word meant nothing to Celia anymore. I went home. The house felt hollow, quiet, but not peaceful. Her shoes were gone from the front door. Her toothbrush was gone. She'd taken stupid little things, like the basil plant from the windowsill and the old throw blanket from the couch. But she left her laptop. And the second I saw it, I knew I wasn't done. I opened it. No password. Just a desktop full of junk. But her Chrome browser still signed in. I clicked Gmail, typed Brad in the search bar. And there it was, an email thread she never deleted, not just recent stuff. This went back over a year. I didn't mean to read it all. That's what I told myself. Just a quick scroll, just enough to confirm what I already knew. But once I opened the email thread between her and Brad, it was like watching a car crash in slow motion. I couldn't look away. The subject line was empty. Just a cold chain of replies, stacked on top of each other. Jokes, late-night links, short little updates that slowly got more personal. The first one was from 13 months ago. She forwarded him a meme. No message, just the image. He replied with, "Laughed way too hard at that." Seems harmless, right? But then it built. Compliments, then inside jokes. Then meeting up after her gym class, then travel plans, fake meetings, then the one that cracked me wide open. From her, dated 8 months ago. I hate how easy it is to lie to him. You know how it feels when something inside your chest goes cold? I felt that, not rage, not even heartbreak, just cold. Like a switch flipped. I'd been living with someone who wrote that sentence about me, and still came home and asked what I wanted for dinner. I read every word after that. Messages about how I never noticed anything, how he's too nice to even suspect. And this one broke something in me. Sometimes I wish he'd just cheat too so I could leave without guilt. That line kept bouncing around my skull for hours. She wanted me to mess up so she could play the victim, like I was some placeholder, just waiting to be replaced cleanly. I screenshotted everything, every email, every time she mentioned me like I was a ghost in my own life. I didn't cry. I didn't punch a wall. I just saved every single message into a folder on my desktop called Truth. Then I did something I didn't plan for. I emailed Brad directly. I didn't yell or threaten him. I just attached the screenshots and wrote, "In case you thought she was being honest." Less than an hour later, he responded, "Wow, I didn't know. She told me you guys were done. I had no idea she was still living with you." I didn't answer. I just closed the laptop, sat there on the couch in silence, and realized something that made my skin crawl. She hadn't just been cheating. She'd built an entire world where I didn't exist. And now I was going to show her I did. 2 days after reading those emails, I invited her to dinner. No drama, no fighting, just a text that said, "Let's talk, just us. Tonight at 7, same place we went on our anniversary." She took the bait fast, said, "Okay." That was it. She showed up in a navy dress I hadn't seen in years, probably trying to summon whatever version of herself she thought I wanted to see. She even curled her hair, put on that fake little smile she used to use on my parents. I watched her walk in and sit across from me, like we weren't living in separate universes now. "Thanks for meeting me," she said. I nodded. Yeah. Thought we should clear the air." She jumped into the usual lines. "We've both made mistakes. Things haven't been right for a while. Maybe this break was what we needed." I let her talk. I even nodded a few times, but inside I was boiling. Not with anger, just pressure, like I was holding something heavy and sharp and seconds away from dropping it on the table. Then she hit me with it, the new script she'd rehearsed. "I've been thinking, maybe we should talk to someone, a counselor, figure out what this is." I almost laughed in her face. Counseling? After a year of lies? Of hotel rooms and deleted texts? And calling me a placeholder behind my back? I didn't respond. I just pulled out my phone, unlocked it, and slid it across the table. She looked at it, confused. "What's this?" "Go ahead. Read it." She picked it up and saw the folder. Truth. She opened it. I watched her face drain in real time. Email screenshots. Date-stamped proof. Photos of her and Brad that Brad didn't even know I had. Her hand started to shake. Her lips parted like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. "You said you wished I'd cheat so you could leave guilt-free," I said. "Turns out I didn't have to." She whispered, "Why would you do this?" "You already did this. I'm just showing you the mirror." She stood up fast, knocked her water over. Silverware clattered. A couple at the next table looked over. She grabbed her purse without saying another word and walked straight out the door. I didn't go after her. I picked up my phone, checked the folder again, and smiled for the first time in months. I still had one last card to play, and this one wasn't for her. It was for everyone else. The next morning, I posted the photos. Not on Facebook, Not on Instagram. That would have been too easy for her to play the victim, twist it, call me bitter. I didn't need to drag my own name through the mud. No, I went strategic. I sent a private email to her boss. Subject line, conduct unbecoming of a licensed staff member. Attached were the screenshots of her bragging about lying to me while on work trips. I didn't even need to explain it. The timestamps and hotel receipts spoke for themselves. An hour later, I got the automated, "Thank you for your concern" reply. 2 days after that, Celia called me. First time since the dinner. Her voice was frantic. No fake calm anymore, just panic. "What did you do, Garrett?" I stayed quiet. She shouted, "You emailed my boss?" "I warned you," I said. "You lied for over a year. You don't get to walk away clean. You're ruining my life. You already ruined mine." She hung up on me. No apology, no ownership. Just pure rage that her perfect little double life was unraveling. Later that week, I heard from Marcy, her own sister. Apparently, Celia got suspended pending review. Guess the clinic didn't love that she used paid work trips to cheat on her husband. Brad, he blocked her. Sent me a one-liner before he did. "Sorry, man. I had no clue." I believed him, honestly. I didn't like the guy, but he wasn't the liar in this story. Now, here's the good part. I sold the house, took every cent, and moved to Knoxville. Got a new apartment, fresh start, left no forwarding address. You know what else I left? Her wedding dress. I mailed it back to her, along with my old ring, the one I dropped on that hotel floor. And inside the box, a printed copy of that one line she wrote, "I hate how easy it is to lie to him." I've been gone 6 months now. Started hiking, lost 20 pounds, made new friends who don't know me as the guy with the cheating wife. It's weird waking up without bitterness choking your lungs. That feeling, that's peace. Celia tried to call me again last month. I didn't answer. You don't owe a darn thing to someone who buried you while smiling to your face. She lit the match. I just let it burn. Was the revenge fair, or did he take it too far? Drop your take in the comments. Like and subscribe. More stories like this coming soon.